Tonight is scheduled to be negative 41 degrees below freezing or negative 9 degrees Fahrenheit. It's gonna get way cold and I am out here solo backpacking. I've got an ultralight setup. In other words, I got minimal gear here. Let's see how I survive with the minimal gear and testing some new gear as well along the way, or if this is gonna be the third time I get frostbite. One of the things I didn't mention is I also have to be home for a program for my son at 9 a.m., which means I'm gonna be packing up in the dark and heading out of here when the temperatures are the absolute coldest in the day. You're probably asking yourself, why the heck is he taking minimal gear and going ultralight when he's going out in these type of temperatures? And the simple answer is, look at that. It's not easy to hike in snowshoes. It's also not that easy to climb hills like that, but when your pack is this light, it makes it a whole lot easier and a lot more enjoyable. So I just climbed up about 400 feet of elevation in the snow. This is a route I haven't taken before, so just trying to get off to some overlooks, get some good pretty views if I can, but sure made a big difference lugging this pack up a hill versus what I typically see out on the trail. You know, the point of me doing this isn't to say bring less gear or anything related to that. It's really just to say, when you have confidence in your gear, you know it well, and you build some confidence in doing trips like this, getting outdoors like this, you really just don't need that much, and it becomes funner and funner and more about the journey than worrying about if you're gonna survive or not. You see all of these swirls on the ground here? All of these swirls are indicating that this is a windy spot and I don't want to put my camp right here. So I'm going to keep heading down the trail, or it's not really a trail, but I'm just going to keep heading down here until I find a spot where I'm not seeing so many swirls, and hopefully I can be more tucked out of the wind. Wind is one of the quickest things to just zap and take your heat away. All right, I think this is where I'm going to set up camp. So I'm going to start clearing off some snow. I'm going to get my shelter set up. Man, that is deep. I'm gonna get my shelter set up as quick as I possibly can, and I need to get some firewood and things like that. So let's get that shelter set up and get some snow cleared. This is definitely not the easiest way to clear snow. I probably should have brought a shovel, but it works. Frozen top. One of the things you can do is keep your bottle like this. Most likely it's gonna freeze around the air, so that's more likely to keep your threads from freezing up. You'll notice though, right down here, one of the most important things is just to always keep your gear as much out of the snow or as much out of the moisture as possible. That really helps. Once it gets wet, it's a lot harder to dry it out, especially when it's 0 degrees out like this, than it is to just keep it from getting wet and then frozen in the first place. All right, I'm probably gonna throw my snowshoes on now and try to level this out, and then I'm gonna pull out the shelter. All right, guys, the shelter is built. It does need to get sturdied up, so I'm gonna try to find some sticks and things that I can tie off to on the side. I'll build the stove here in a minute, but really I need firewood, and I'm realizing I need a lot of it because it is freaking cold. Like, my camera equipment's starting to malfunction. My mouth is freezing together because of my beard, and I just can't believe how cold it is. So I'm gonna start gathering firewood and hopefully gather a lot of it. Some longer pieces that I can cut up inside the shelter. One of the things about the cold is it makes you not think very clearly. That's when you know you're freaking cold. I started getting the firewood, just realized like I'm freezing, and I have a jacket in my backpack that I haven't even put on. So I just threw the Nova Pro on, my puffy jacket, and keep getting firewood, but it's cold, and this is definitely not the type 1 or type 2 fun at this point. So really looking forward to getting that fire lit. All right, so here's my biggest concerns right now. That thing looks way too drafty. It's basically freezing. basically I'm gonna have to freeze branches into the snow and then tie to them. We're in reverse order of that. Try to solidify that because that's really windy. There's way too much air getting down underneath it, so that's probably the next thing I need to focus on. You can see how much snow is blowing underneath this. I've been able to secure a little bit better, but I came in here and saw my bag was even got snowed inside. But I'm gonna build the stove and hopefully get this just a little bit more secured so I can light up a fire. Hopefully we can kind of get this locked down so there's not so much movement, so I feel a little better about starting that stove up and whatnot. But yeah, we're getting pretty close to either it's got to work or I got to hike out, because it's not a great situation to be in. I can hike out and that would be safe, but I'd probably have to leave gear in here. Well, thankfully the wind stopped. You probably can't even see me, and I've got a fire going, which makes me feel way better. Hands are really numb, but just that wind stopping has really helped, and hopefully we can get this fire rolling and get heated up and feel better about the situation. Not frozen all the way through, but almost. Stick that over here by the fire. There goes the last of the sun and the wind, thank goodness. All right, here we are. We got our water heating up in there. Ooh, almost ready. We've got the fire rolling. We're about to have some home-style chicken and rice. Some dessert, make some hot cocoa tonight. Be eating good. I think I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you how much that fire means to me right now. My hands are starting to become less numb and numb. It's warmer in here, and the whole atmosphere has just changed. It's way more peaceful. It's just like, all right, I got wood, I got time, I can go get more wood, I can do the camp chores that I need to. But really, all of that happened because I took way too much time filming on the way in, and I just should have been here about an hour ahead of when I was. If I had done that, this would have gone way smoother. Well, I was just outside cutting some wood, and my hands were getting pretty numb, and I was almost there. Was hurrying, and the saw just kind of popped out and stuck me in the back of the thumb. So it's almost to stop bleeding. Put a little band-aid on it later, but you can kind of see it's really nothing, but it's just annoying. It keeps bleeding. But it's almost dinner time. Oh yeah, I got crazy hungry. I don't know what it was. I'm sure I'm burning a lot of calories, but I just didn't expect that because I had a huge meal for lunch and before I left. It's getting too hot in here. Turn down it's pretty cool on these stoves. You actually have a flue, an vent, so you can really kind of control how fast everything's going. Get some dessert in. I don't know if my peanut butter ever warmed up. Oh yeah, it was like rock hard. I wanted it, and it was there's just no way. But I could eat it now. Maybe I'll do peanut butter brownie bites. I'm glad that my beard is finally dried out. I think. Yep. I legit out there's a few times when I'd close my mouth and it would freeze over. It's just crazy. It's crazy how nice and warm it is in here. But like when I went out there to grab firewood and try to button up a few things, it just zaps you. So the second this thing goes out, it's gonna get crazy cold, which is why I've got a negative 15-degree summit that I'm gonna be sleeping in tonight. Problem is, it's a regular size, and I'm definitely taller than what fits in the regular size. So I had to bring the Lofttech Hybrid balaclava. So just because I'm probably not gonna be able to get my head in the bag, but other than that, that should keep me plenty warm. I mean, that's a big part of why I'm out here, is just testing and putting gear through its paces. It's definitely been one of those weeks where if it could go wrong, it went wrong, and been good to get out here, get some time alone, get some time with nature. Man, it was so pretty. I love when the trees are just flocked like that. Like you couldn't do it any better. And they don't last like that, right? You gotta be out here right when I'm out here, the day after the storm, to see that kind of stuff. I'll actually boil all this water or get it super hot and then put this in the bottom of my sleeping bag. This will stay warm till morning. Usually it's like right till morning, but it's amazing how well just water will stay warm in a sleeping bag. That's one of the biggest tips I've learned over time. One of the other things that I do in the wintertime is I will layer my pads. So this right here is a 4 something R-value pad. And then you've seen this pad that I packed in, obviously. Man, ice on my pad. That's nice. But by layering these, I'm going to be able to get something more in the 5 range. Probably not quite to the 6 R-value range, but without that, this pad would be absolutely maxed out. And even in this situation, you know, being negative 9 degrees, I'm a little nervous that even this method isn't going to quite keep up with how cold it really is. So we're going to find that out tonight as well. I've done this method down to really cold temperatures before, but maybe more like 0. So we're about 10 degrees colder than the method I've used this for. So that'll also be something to kind of watch for and see how that goes tonight. That bag is looking nice and puffy for me. Geez, about fills the whole tent on top of that pad. I'm looking forward to climbing in that later. For now though, cheers. I'm gonna take some electrolytes. Nothing like a straight shot with salt and flavoring. Just got up for a quick little stroll around camp, and I cannot last out here. It is so cold, I'm starting to shake. So I'm gonna climb back in there and crawl in bed finally, I think. I've got all the firewood cut and should be good to go. That's a wrap on the night. I'm gonna hit the light off and we'll see how cold it really gets. My plan at this point is to wake up at about 5:40 in the morning so I can get the tent warmed up and kind of get out of bed slowly, but I need to be on the trail by 7. All right, we'll see you when the sun comes up. All right, well, we survived. Got the fire started and start heating up for the morning. Really slept quite well. Probably went 4 or 5 straight hours of sleep, so there's no alarm to secondary, and I got another one coming to wake up, but get the frost off this tent and hopefully be able to get out of bed nice and slow. The water bottle stayed warm till maybe 30 minutes ago, and it's not cold, it's just not warm anymore. I wish this was a long wide bag because I'm definitely too tall for it, but it is what it is. This is what I had to test, and so I kind of had to do it that way. One of my favorite things about using the stove is you see those like ice crystals. Tell you what, putting on boots that aren't frozen is a whole lot better than putting on frozen boots. This isn't half bad right here. So my plan is to do everything I possibly can inside the tent. And then essentially at that point, I've got to get the stove cooled off and the tent dropped. But I just want to do anything and everything I possibly can before it comes to that point. You know it's cold when every stake is out of your non-freestanding shelter and it's still standing up. That's just from cold fabric. Look at that. It's so pretty. Or this over here. If you can see back in there. I'm sure that picture doesn't look great, but if you could see that, it is just absolutely gorgeous to be out right now. I've been making quick work of the hike out here. But I wanted to again remind you that I'll put links to the gear down in the description below. Not all of them. If you want to see the entire gear list, loadout, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll do a video breaking down each individual piece and my thoughts of it. But I can almost see my vehicle just above the road here, so we're gonna go ahead and close it out. I appreciate you guys joining me, coming on this trip with me. I hope it inspires you a little bit to get out there and enjoy your own adventures and live ultralight. Oh yeah, 6 minutes behind schedule. Hopefully this thing will start up. Uh-oh. Step one. Woo. That battery is on the fringe. That made me nervous.